Welcome to the Root of It All podcast with Tree, your human behavior expert. Did you ever wonder why you have the behaviors that you have or how to change them? Did you ever wonder about different people in different industries and what made them good at what they do? Well, this is the podcast for you. You're learning all about human behavior from the experts. So cozy up, go for a walk, or go for that drive that you've always wanted to, and get ready to learn. Learn about you, learn about others, because us as humans, we are the funniest creatures on this planet. So let's learn together. Hello, everybody, and this is Tree from the Root of It All podcast. And today I have a very special guest. He is extremely talented, another business owner, another fellow business owner. This is Kumar from Clickworthy, and we are talking about how he built his business, different things that he had to persevere through. So welcome, Kumar. Thank you so much for being a part of our show.
Thank you, Tree, for having me today.
And one of the things I want to I'm just going to dive right in because it always fascinates me that what we were just talking about off camera before we started recording is about the courageousness in people when they choose to leave a country where they were brought up in and to just move to another country that they may not know that much about. And I love talking to guests about this. Like on another podcast I did with Sunny from the morning show radio host, that her parents came from Italy and they came by boat into New York and they had to navigate their way how to get up to Canada. And her dad came first, and then her mom and her two siblings came on their own afterwards. And that's courageous. Like that is just insanely courageous. So tell people a little bit about or what you're comfortable with sharing in terms of, where you came from, or things that you had to navigate or figure out, or even when you got here that you thought it would be a certain way and it was totally different than what you thought it would be, or whatever you want to share.
Sure. So my story is a little different. I did not come by the boat. I had the good fortune of taking a flight. I came
Well,
six
you're
years
you're a lot
ago.
younger than her parents too.
So I came 6 years ago. I was born and brought up in India in the city of New Delhi. I did spend close to 15 years working with the corporate world there. Had the good fortune of working with big companies like Mattel and Ferrero. By the time I came to Canada, I had a good amount of exposure to working and handling large size teams. So in 2019, when I came to Canada, it was a completely different experience for me. And within 6 months or so, there was the big epidemic that happened and everything shut down. So it was a very different kind of world that I
Wow, so you showed up here 6 months before everything shut down. Oh
absolutely.
my gosh. I did not know that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Keep going.
And there was a friend of mine who was starting up a business of his, and he suddenly needed help, and I helped him navigate that difficult time. And on one of my neighborhood groups, there was somebody else who was running a business and suddenly needed help in managing their website and fixing up some of the things that they were doing with their marketing, because now it was a very different terrain to navigate. And after helping a few of these individuals, I realized that there is a need for something where you could come in and help more business owners, and primarily small business owners, because the big companies do have the budgets and the means to access the top guys who are at the downtown agencies. But these people, they usually fall in the hands of either freelancers, or they go to people who claim to be experts, but they're not.
Mhm.
So I combined everything together and brought my experience in to start what is now called Clickworthy.
That's awesome. And within your company, do you employ people from India to do some of the work, or are they all located here in Canada?
We have a good mix of people, and not just in India but and Canada, but across the world. We've had
Yes.
writers who have written content for us from Scotland. We have had people in South Africa. We have had people in Sweden. We have clients in Australia. So it is so diverse. And depending on where we find the right talent, we pick and choose to work with them, despite boundaries, because we are digital, and COVID taught us that we can work with anyone, anywhere in the world.
That's awesome. And it really did make the world seem smaller because we had the ability to now connect with people in a moment's notice, no matter where they were in the world. So let's go back. I want like New Delhi. Is New Delhi like the capital of India, or is that right? I mean,
It's a big city. It's a big city. I grew up there and spent literally all of my life there during that time.
mm-hmm,
Uh, and it had its own challenges, but it was growing as we saw it changing, and the infrastructure building. So I saw a very different kind of life that I started with to the time when I exited the country.
mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure if I were to go back today, I would find a different version of Delhi now.
Mm. And that's true for everything, I think, in the world. Everything changes, right? And that's a one of the certainties for us as humans. Even our behavior will naturally change when it comes to the resiliency in which we need to get into, no matter what the situation is, right? So, being a business owner, what would you say could it was like a struggle that you found like as you grew because you saw that people like there was this need for people needing help for their websites for their online footprint to show up online and during COVID it was more than ever because people needed to keep their websites updated because business owners didn't have time to answer calls, answer questions. So they literally had to keep their websites up to date enough so that they can leverage it, so that they weren't getting inundated with all the phone calls or emails or all those things.
That's a great question, Tree. Personally, I found in my journey what was the most challenging bit was that I knew no one when I came here. I don't
Oh,
have
wow.
any family here. I I made my friends here when I came in. So everything that I have as a network now is what I built in 6 years. So
Wow.
that was the challenge.
Hmm.
Uh, the good part was I found people who trusted me
Hmm.
and gave me a chance, and I was able to turn it around to show them the value. And once that happened, they spread the word,
Hmm.
and with that word itself is what led me here.
Well, and I gotta say too, the great thing about you, Kumar, and we've known each other for almost a year now because we're in the a networking group, a BNI, a Business Networking International group, here in Oakville. And the great thing about you is that you truly know how to connect with people. And were you like that before you came to Canada, or was it something that you had to learn quickly because it was just you?
Uh, you know what? Funnily, I didn't see that side of me until one of those networking meetings that we go to, and one of our members, Karen, mentioned about the Myers-Briggs test. And I went home and I said, I'm going to do this test today. And I figured out what is my personality type, and it was ESFJ. So when I decoded it, it told me a lot about why I come out so friendly and trying to help people all the time.
Hmm.
And that is why, even before it becomes a business deal, it becomes more of me listening and hearing them out as to what they are facing, where they're standing right now, and what is it that'll get them into a better place, a better position.
Hmm.
It all just came together. Like you look within and you understand about yourself, and that's the core that actually helps you as a business owner.
Hmm. So that's awesome. So that means that you were always like that, that even when you were
I,
looking,
I think so. I will
yeah.
give that to of myself then. I did try to be courageous, to your point. I haven't ever shied away from doing adventure sports. So maybe jumping off a cliff as a bungee jumper, or maybe doing a skydive. So the whole thing of trying out something where it's in the unknown has always fascinated me. So I take it as a challenge and just go and go inside it. I'm always sure that there is a way out of this. So we will get there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And the interesting thing about different tests like that, like a lot of, and I'm not sure where that stemmed from, but a lot of it is, what I do for a living when it comes to human behavior. And when we talk about human behavior, there's lots of in NLP. So NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. So we look at people when it comes to like meta programs. And so what you would be considered in our meta programs, you would be considered very freedom minded, right? You would be in the category of belonging. So you very much enjoy people, you're interested in their story, you're interested in helping them. You can sympathize or empathize with whatever the struggles that they're going on with, and you will help to whatever degree that you will help with. And so, with any business owner, it's important that they're actually in those types of categories because it means that they're outgoing, they're comfortable with people, because if you're a business owner and you're in fear of people or you're in fear of uh, approaching people or having hard conversations or conversations even in general to get yourself out there, then your business won't grow. Uh, there's a lot of small business owners that I work with, and they're like actually hiding behind their computer and trying to do everything themselves. And they're thinking like, oh, I put an email out. Why isn't people calling me? And it's like, well, there's all kinds of different things that you need to do for your business. Do you struggle with like talking or struggle with trying to get people to understand the internet in terms of because with the internet it's like you can see the website but you can't see all the things that are happening like behind the scenes like the algorithms or the code or any of that like and I know it's different now with AI. This is a long-winded question but but like is there any struggle and do you have solutions to work around teaching people about what's happening because even when you teach somebody then things change as well, right? So it's like yeah, I don't know. So teach us about that, like the struggles and then the solutions that you've come up with.
Sure. One of the things that I come across most often is that people think that if they have a Facebook profile or they have an Instagram already in place, do they really need to have a website of their own?
Yeah.
And to counter that argument, it's the Facebook profile is always owned by Facebook, Instagram is owned by Instagram, your TikTok is owned by TikTok.
Hmm.
And we have had multiple incidents, and they have been reported in the press too, that a profile was shut down and somebody's entire livelihood was based on it,
Hmm.
and they were they were just shredded to tears. So what
Hmm.
do you do in such case? You need to own your own property, right? It's like a renter being moved out. So you have to make a conscious choice that you have to have your own thing on the internet, and that's what a website does for you. And it can do so many things depending on how much you can use it. And it is no longer just one place that'll attract all the different attention that you want it to. But what one such anchor, you can then do all the other things that you have to. With the
Hmm.
website in place, now you can go about doing your TikToks, your social media. So the other thing that we do at Clickworthy is to help businesses get their organic SEO in place and organic social media in place. What that does is help people find your business without you having to spend on ads. And when you have the website in place, you can do all of these other things, and people will be able to find you for the right reasons and for
Hmm.
the right services that you want to be found for, and not just pin your hopes on, say, an Instagram or a Facebook that might just take away from you tomorrow. Right?
Mhm. Yeah, because that's a scary thing as a business owner. All of a sudden, you like have your Facebook page or Instagram page, you have all these posts, and I know the person that I have to do Instagram in-house here, uh, she has it all looking pretty with even like the background all matching and stuff like that. I don't even know how she does it, but she does a great job. But yeah, like if the account goes down, oh my gosh. Like what like that's a so here's a question. So if somebody, for example, if somebody's Instagram account went down and they have all of these Instagram posts, sometimes thousands, I think I have over thousands of posts, and each post has its own kind of like URL to it, right? Like if you're going to share a post, you can share the post so that has like a its own kind of like URL to it or whatever. And so all of a sudden the account's gone. What happens to all like the URLs, the even the Instagram handle, right? Because mine's like Instagram forward slash tree ride or whatever it is, right? Um, like what happens to all those links? Are they then like just broken links out there in the interwebs?
It's gone. So there are only two things that could happen. One, you could recover it by getting in touch with the Meta team, which is a Herculean process because you have to deal with a system that has been built not to have human interaction. So I've seen a lot of people get panic attacks when something like that happens.
Yeah.
Uh, and to your answer your question, it will just lead anyone who's clicking on a link that they already have from before to a page that will say no longer exists or suspended or not found. Simple. That's how it's going to happen.
Wow, yeah, that is scary as a business owner because there's a lot of smaller businesses that I work with, and they do have like just a very simple website, um, but they get a lot of their business through these social media places, and I know too that you also do social media campaigns for Facebook and for Instagram, which we will be doing. I promise. And so tell people a little bit more about that in terms of like how can they leverage that?
Sure. And depending on what kind of a business um, you have, it could be an e-commerce business or a service-based business, and what timeline it takes for someone to buy your service. For example, if you're a plumber,
Mhm.
it is an emergency service, most likely. The faucet
Yeah.
got broken or there is a leak. So
Hmm.
they are not going to come on Facebook and look through a lot of reels to understand that, oh, this is one of the businesses that I want to get in touch with. Such an audience is going to directly go to Google, find a plumber near them, or ask anybody in their network if they know someone who is trustworthy. If they don't get it from that, they will go on Google to find, read the reviews, and see if that is the person they would want to call. And that is how the algorithm helps people who are in immediate need. Like if I want to buy a shoe, I would just go on Google, figure out through the steps, and then buy it.
Hmm.
Versus Facebook, like for instance, if it's a hypnosis service, right? And just speaking because we are talking here,
I know. I was trying to think of something smart to say. I was like, hypnosis. Oh, that's interesting.
so people are not much aware of the whole service itself. So there
Yeah.
is a bit of a learning curve there. So what happens is through the use of social media and the way algorithm is designed, you dish out content to them that increases their knowledge, makes them more aware of what the whole service is all about, and bring them to a certain point. By that time, when they are ready, they already know about the service, they have already encountered your brand name, so they will then be able to get in touch with you. Or you can offer them something which will help them do things better. For example, something could be like, how do
Okay.
you tidy up your teenager's room, for instance, the 10 steps that. So a lot of
Yeah.
parents struggle with that. So that would be a checklist that they would want to be in touch with,
Okay.
and that could be offered. And then maybe through an act of email marketing and just stitching all of this together, you can upgrade them and bring them to that stage where they would be considering your service. So that's how the algorithms are different, and that's how the businesses have to tackle each of these platforms based on the algorithms that they have.
Mm-hmm. Because I think everybody listening to this podcast, if you're on Instagram, like you see all those ads on Instagram, even Facebook, right? Like you're scrolling through or, um, it was funny. I forget what my husband was searching for online. But anyways, I started Googling something and there was like some weird ads. And I'm like, this is a weird ad to show up, right? And even actually, like, there's another business that I have, and used to share my screen a lot. And I noticed that when I'd Google something, all of a sudden you'd get the ads for it showing up. So I remember I Googled like underwear, and then I was like, oh my God. And like, I'm thinking, like, oh my goodness, I got to share my screen on like, to with a client or whatever. And so I had to like, clear cookies, or like I had to Google like how to make sure my search or whatever doesn't show up. Like, so it can be somewhat embarrassing at some point in time if you're, specifically, I mean, over COVID, everybody was on Zoom and it just, yeah. So it's a very interesting industry that you're in, Kumar. The fact that, and it's fascinating because for what I do, I'm on the side of the actual human being. Where for you, you're on like for the human being, human behavior, and you're also on the human behavior side in terms of how it is that they're searching online, how it is like the infrastructure for each platform. And I'm sure each one has its own sort of, I don't know if the term is algorithm. You can correct me on the terms because I certainly don't know them as well as you do.
Yes, I think what happens here is that
Mhm.
each of these platforms, they are set up in a way that they react or kind of serve the human behavior itself. Now,
That's right.
I will take a slight diversion here and talk about how the advent of AI is also tying up with the human behavior and the algorithms that are already existing. So what we see now is, and I get asked this pretty often, that why don't you think that AI is going to change the course and take away everything from Google? So
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So you get asked that a bit, quite a
a
bit.
lot, a lot.
Okay.
See, the reason why all of these places exist is because we have an inherent need to search, to
Mhm.
find answers, and try to decode things that are not clear to us. For that purpose, the way knowledge has flowed through centuries of human existence has been first through libraries, and then you were going inside and tackling those, and then digital world happened and Google happened and everything was at your fingertips, but the libraries are still existing. They have evolved, and
Hmm.
they're still for a use case that is in existence. So now Google has a ton of data on everyone. You talked about that example of your searches showing up in the ads that were on different
Yeah.
websites.
Yeah.
It is because they store a ton of data on you, not just through your experience of using their platform,
Hmm.
but also through an intricate web of getting information from these multiple websites. For instance, when you go on a USA Today or a CBC, you are agreeing to their cookies and you are getting ready to share your personal information.
Hmm.
And just by clicking that accept all, and we don't go through it, what all does that accept all mean? Because it takes away all of this information that
Hmm.
then gets passed on to bigger organizations, which are third party,
Oh,
which you
wow.
never hear of. And they are the ones who supply it to the largest corporations in the world. So I'll give you
Wow.
a
So
good example.
what would be, sorry to interrupt you, but what would be an example of them supplying it to one of the largest industries in the world? Like what would be a business example of that?
A very interesting example I'll share. So I was on a Reddit thread a few months ago, and it was about satellite data. And with there are various form of satellite data that is available right now, right? You could go onto Google Earth and you can see the version of what is happening in the world, and you can zero down and go to the last level and see everything. But that is not the prime version of the data. The prime version that comes out from the satellites is actually gobbled up by the bigger corporations, like a Walmart. And
Hmm.
how do they use it? They track the number of cars who are parked outside of Walmart on different days to assess how many people are accessing the facility. And based on that, trying to work out the footfalls, trying to work out how many people they could expect. So this is data that a normal person would never think of. They would think that if you pass by the door, it'll take an idea of how many people cross that door. But it's not just that. It's right starts in the parking lot itself, and not with any mechanism that you see physically in front of you,
Hmm.
but up there in the space. So
Oh my
that
gosh.
data is phenomenal that gets captured. But all these third-party websites, they compile all of this data and send it to bigger corporations that can distill down based on the behavior, and then show you ads. And this is sold.
Wow. It's like we are in like a consumer world, right? Like in terms of just you can purchase something and it shows up the next day or even in 12 hours sometimes the case may be. And so where do you have any predictions of where you believe things are going? So if you're saying that like AI is not going to get rid of Google, because I do believe that when we Google search something, just there's too much information. So that's what AI is good at because it's filtering through better. So it's almost like another layer to Google. So you can't get rid of Google because otherwise AI would have nothing to like fill its feed with, essentially, right? So, do you have any predictions, like in your experience, of where we'll be in, say, 5 years from now when it
Five
comes
years is a
to?
long time. Things are changing like
Okay,
every.
so let's say 1 year, in 1 year from now.
1 year from now, what I feel is Google is here to stay. For instance, I don't know whether you've already experienced it yet. There's an AI mode next to and the rest of the other searches that you might have already seen on search. So there's all, then there's images, then there is maps. So extreme left is an AI mode. It was launched first in the US and in India, and I experienced it in the US during the holidays. And now it is live here too. So if you have an informational search where you are trying to find information about a certain topic, for instance, how do you remove mold from your washer, right? It's a very informational topic. You are not finding a service to help with, or you're not buying anything. So
Yeah.
what you do is you go there in the AI mode, and it gives you all the information. Now, what on these platforms have done, just on a very broad level service,
Hmm.
they have made the search more well defined. So what earlier was the limitation in Google was it would have a single way of you to interact, and the next search is not going to follow up on the previous search. In a chat GPT, in a conversational GPT, what happens is you do one search and then you can top it up with the next one and third and the fourth. And say you did 10 of those, and then in the end you said, that, okay, now based on this, can you suggest me one tool that will do this, or five tools that I could pick on? And then it's going to give you all those tools. And then you're going to click there and then go to that tools page and then make your decision about purchasing or not purchasing. But by the time you're already warmed up. So what's happening now is all the people who are coming through these engines,
Hmm.
they are already warmed up. So you don't have to make that awareness happen. They're already at the bottom of the funnel. So your bottom of the funnel content for these kind of generative engines has to be super solid, so that you have all the context that people are feeding up in these engines already available that matches you against these searches. So that is, I see the way to go in the future. There could be more smaller LLMs and not bigger ones like the chat GPT is already there. But
What's an LMN or what did you say?
it's a large language model, something
Oh,
which,
okay.
which on based on which
A
chat
large
GPT
language mo model?
model.
Oh,
Yes,
okay. Okay.
because it works on a ton of data, right? So what happens is if you would want to use it and you have, say, a 1,000 customers that you already have,
Hmm.
let's say that, and you don't want to share that information with a model that is a large model. So in the future, what will happen is you will have your own smaller model that'll be more tuned to what your services are, would understand you as a business owner, you would understand everything about you, your pricing and your way of service and your SOPs and processes, and then will deliver you more tuned up results versus what a chat GPT is. So this, I'm talking about a small business level owner right now, but that is a little far fetched. First, it's going to happen, say, in maybe a Kraft Heinz or maybe a Walmart, and they would have their own internal models so that they
Wow.
can use all of that data.
Wow, that's fascinating. That's like, yeah, it's so interesting because I think most of the general public, right, they're just unaware. I mean, I think everybody has used AI to some extent at this point, just because it's been around long enough. But overall, like the stuff you're talking about is fascinating because when it comes to uh, us as humans, we can't take in all that information. We're just not built that way. It gets us an overwhelm. Even I see a lot of clients that they're in overwhelm because they feel like there's so much pressure on them, and not even business owners, just random people that they just feel like the pressure on like research this, do this, or be on social media, post this, post that, or do this or do that. And it's like this other layer for us as human beings that we feel like we have to live up to. So I really, me, I very much hope and want to put the energy out there that there'll be new businesses coming out that will help people. Like obviously that's what I do as well, but um I'm seeing even other modalities that I'm partnering with to help people be the human, but then I see the importance of, well, you have to be online. If you're a business owner, like no one will find you. So it's like a double-edged sword. You need to live your life as a human, but you also have to be online and uh, work with a company like Clickworthy, like to get things done and stuff like that. So if you were to leave people with one tip of how to navigate the online world, what would that tip be?
I would say that think about where your audience is and just optimize for those people there. Have your own real estate on the internet and then go about finding where your audience goes and just follow them. What you don't have to do is be on Twitter, be on Pinterest, be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You're just adding to your stress. You will never be able to do it. But if your audience is not there on, say, Twitter, and your audience you mostly find was a millennial going into Facebook, or you find that your audience is largely around a certain radius around where you are located, then just focus on local SEO, focus on your local neighborhood groups, focus on building your place in the community so that you are known.
Hmm.
People in the end will still work with people. What we
Yeah.
don't understand is sometimes when we mistake that is, while Clickworthy is the company, but there is nothing called Clickworthy. You cannot meet somebody called Clickworthy tomorrow, right? You're still going to meet Kumar, right? Or the
Yeah.
Burlington Hypnosis Center is always going to have somebody called Tree who's going to be the face, who's going to do the human interaction.
Yeah.
And that is what is going to then fructify into whether there will be a business relationship or not. So in the end, I would say that keep that on, make those human connections happen, and do where your audience is. That's all what matters.
I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for sharing your insight, your time, to allow us to learn more about this whole industry, really. And we'll have all of Coomer's links and how to reach him and his, of course, his website. But again, thank you so much. This was so insightful. And thanks again.
Thank you, Tree, for having me. It was a pleasure.
And thanks for listening to another great episode of the Root of It All podcast with Tree. So if you want to check us out on Instagram or Facebook, you can go to Business Growth Results on either of those platforms, or you can even go to businessgrowthresults.com if you have a suggested topic or theme, or you want to get a free hypnosis download. So we'll talk to you soon. Till next time, see you later.